exactly do NBA Hall of Famer Kobe Bryant, Princess Diana, and actor Tom Cruise have in common? Medicine may not be the first idea that crossed your mind, but all three of these celebrities have openly endorsed some form of alternative medicine. There was no way that Kobe Bryant could leave the country a few years back without fans noticing, as he looked for answers for his arthritic knee. In England, Princess Diana's devout followers all knew that she regularly attended reflexology sessions. And here in the United States, Tom Cruise was criticized by the news media for claiming that chemical imbalances just don't exist, and that they can actually be cured through dietary and vitamin supplements. These are reflections of an issue that has taken the medical community by storm, both on the national and international scale. The emerging field of complementary and alternative medicine, or CAM, has sparked controversy among doctors and patients alike, giving rise to a barrage of questions as to the implications of integrating techniques with more traditional practices. CAM is one of those wave of the future type movements that garners immediate support. Yet there are those who see it more as a blast from the ancient past that has absolutely no bearing on modern medicine. So, in order to fairly assess both sides of the issue, it's necessary to look at the educational, clinical, and research settings, respectively. But before I go further, let's define CAM. As stated in an article called Complementary and Alternative Medicine, what is it about? Well, according to the CORAIN collaboration based in Oxford, England, CAM is the diagnosis, treatment, and/or prevention which complements mainstream medicine by contributing to a common whole, by satisfying a demand not met by orthodoxy, or by diversifying the conceptual frameworks of medicine. Now that was a mouthful, but in plain English, complementary medicine are those techniques and practices which are used in addition to widely accepted and used Western medicine practices, whereas alternative medicine are used instead of conventional methods. Collectively, you have the acronym CAM, or you also commonly will hear it heard integrated medicine. Electives are available in integrated medicine at many medical schools across the country. Students are actually able to take classes focusing on whole medical systems, biologic systems, manipulative therapies, energy therapies, and the list continues. Serious students can further concentrate on CAM by pursuing certification programs in states that license alternative medicine providers, so you might be able to specialize in an area such as acupuncture. So there are options available, but proponents of CAM argue that current elective options just aren't adequate and that revisions are needed to core curriculum. According to a health committee review published by the National Academies Press, it's advisable to incorporate sufficient information into the standard curriculum at the undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate levels to enable licensed professionals to competently advise their patients about CAM. Now, knowledge can be an obstacle both to doctors who are maybe not as knowledgeable about CAM practices and are confronted with patients asking questions, and it can also be an obstacle facing the complementary medicine providers that maybe don't have appropriate certification and licensure that gives them the science basis for their position. According to a study conducted by the UK, though, and published in the European Journal of Integrated Medicine, the main challenges still facing CAM is really funding, or lack of funding rather, and negative perceptions. So this transitions us outside of the classroom and inside doctors' offices. There are efficacy concerns with CAM, and there's really no escaping that reality. Medical professionals tend to label CAM practices as pseudoscience or quackery, and the list goes on. And the more positive side of those labels would be terms such as holistic health, or, as I've already mentioned, probably the least inflammatory, integrative medicine. One of the major legislation type debates that affects this issue and is a current factor in the United States is the licensing of naturopathic physicians. NDs do not have the same degree as an MD. However, much like their counterparts in conventional medicine, naturopathic physicians do have to attend an accredited 4-year university and afterward are required to take a licensing exam known as the NPLEX. But after spending approximately 8 years in college, NDs are only licensed to practice in about 25 jurisdictions through the United States, and that's according to the Association of Accredited Naturopathic Medical Colleges. Texas is not one of those states where NDs are currently licensed, so anyone in the state of Texas can claim to be a naturopath and not have gone through that rigorous training, which contributes to the further skepticism on whole health medicine. There are those patients, however, who are willing to travel if necessary to seek symptom relief. And according to CNN statistics, 1/3 of all Americans rely on some form of CAMM. Returning patients are willing to provide support testimonies, and some even refer friends. In the article titled "Why Did Kobe Go to Germany?", baseball star Alex Rodriguez talks about his journey and introduction to alternative medicine and how it was actually recommended by Kobe Bryant after he had traveled to Germany at least twice for regenerative cell therapies on his knee. Now this brings us to the research aspect of the question, as it exists in esteemed institutions. Critics of CAMM claim that it fosters underdeveloped research. Paul Offit actually wrote in an essay to the Journal of the American Medical Association criticizing researchers and saying that they spent $406,000 to find that coffee enemas don't cure pancreatic cancer. Many government funding agencies seem to appreciate his logic because allocation of resources is typically evidence-based, and that gives more of an edge to conventional medicine. Still, CAMM research exists every day. The National Cancer Institute lists a summary of current medical trials or clinical trials that are in progress at the phase 2 and 3 levels. And in multiple locations, including one in Buffalo, New York, there's research into the effects of acupuncture and how it affects pain management in advanced stage cancer patients. The Journal of Complementary Medicine Research, or JCMR, is actually an entire publication dedicated to showcasing this CAMM research, both from a technical writing perspective as well as through editorials and letters to the editor. Now, the primary body that actually is responsible for the funding and regulation of CAMM research is the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, or NCCIH, which is one of the 27 divisions of the National Institutes of Health. There's still the dispute of degrees. MDs, NDs, PhDs, and other title-holding physicians, and that's not likely to soon subside. In other words, the case about CAMM is really not cut and dried, so to speak. The use of CAMM in the United States and worldwide is a continual controversy that has sparked debate among doctors and patients alike, and has given rise to pressing questions about the implications of trying to integrate it into modern medicine. Obviously, opinions abound on both sides, but the end goal truly is the same, and that is simply to help improve health. Thank you.